And friends don't stop friends from drinking and driving. Friends die. Drinking and driving can kill a friendship.
Doctor says you'll be up and around in no time. Everything's going to be just fine.
In our country, physical illness gets the most advanced medical treatment there is. Yet a disease more widespread than cancer, lung, and heart disease combined goes virtually untreated.
Why don't you just get up and pull yourself together? Come on, snap out. Everybody gets depressed.
The disease is mental illness. A disease so confusing, its symptoms are often misread and misunderstood.
There's nothing wrong with him. All he needs is a good swift kick in the pants. Is enough.
So its victims wind up neglected, isolated.
Why don't you talk to us? What is wrong with you? There is nothing more I can do for you.
But mental illness is a medical illness. And like other medical illnesses, it can be treated. Once you learn to recognize the warning signs, learn to see the sickness. Learning is the key to healing. For an informative booklet, call the American Mental Health Fund.
Get ready, we're gonna do it again. Get ready, let's go, Mets! Get ready, we're gonna have a great time. Get ready, let's go, Mets! Turn on, do it, let's go, Mets! See it on 9. Another season to make us proud. Another reason to be proud out loud. Do it! Let's go, Mets! See it on 9. Get ready, we're gonna do it again. Get ready, let's go, Mets! Get ready, we're gonna have a great time. Get ready, let's go, Mets!
The Mets take on the Astros Sunday at 2:30 on Channel 9.
Let's go, Mets! Let's do it again!
Be part of exciting game show action at 8:30. Followed at 9 by Shamus, starring Burt Reynolds as a hard-nosed Brooklyn private eye. Tonight on Channel 9.
Headline news, I'm Doo-hwan. A routine arrest ends in death for 3 Michigan police officers. They were found shot to death today in a motel room in Inkster. Authorities say the officers had been held hostage by a woman and her 3 sons. These suspects have surrendered and are now in police custody, while officials determine the charges to be filed against them. These slain officers were taken captive last night when they tried to make an arrest on bad check charges. Today, San Diego authorities are investigating a fatal accident at the National Steel and Shipbuilding Company. Officials say 4 people were killed and at least 9 injured when a steel basket carrying workers fell from a crane onto a supply ship. 4 of the injured are listed in critical condition. It is not known what caused that basket to fall. Former White House aide Oliver North goes head-to-head with Congress for a 4th day today. He's scheduled to testify at the Iran Contra hearings again this morning. Yesterday, North admitted he shredded documents while Justice Department investigators were searching his office 10 feet away. However, the Justice Department denies that. North also talked about his firing from his job at the National Security Council.
And have you wondered why, if it was a good idea, that the President of the United States dismissed you because of it?
Let me just make one thing very clear, Counsel. This Lieutenant Colonel is not going to challenge a decision of the Commander-in-Chief for whom I still work. And I am proud to work for that Commander-in-Chief. And if the Commander-in-Chief tells this Lieutenant Colonel to go stand in the corner and sit on his head, I will do so.
A pair of shouting demonstrators disrupted North's testimony during yesterday morning's session. The 2 men unfurled a banner inside the Senate caucus room, accusing the Nicaraguan Contras of drug smuggling. There were also interruptions by North's attorney.
I'm certain counsel realizes that this is not a court of law.
Believe me, I know that.
And I'm certain you realize that the rules of evidence do not apply in this inquiry.
That I know as well. I'm just asking for fairness. Fairness. I know the rules don't apply. I know the Congress doesn't recognize attorney-client privilege, husband and wife privilege, priest-penitent privilege. I know those things are all out the window.
We have attempted
and we rely on just
fairness,
Mr. Chairman. Fairness.
Let the witness object if he wishes to.
Well, sir, I'm not a potted plant. I'm here as the lawyer. That's my job.
Folks in North's hometown of Philmont, New York are glued to their television sets. As Dave Monsies reports, most residents are supporting one of the town's favorite sons.
It is not a log cabin, but to the people of Philmont, New York, the house Oliver North grew up in might as well be. On Maple Avenue, where he lived, American flags were out and people were in, riveted to their hometown hero on TV. Betty Taylor and her son watch the hearings 6 hours a day.
Well, I think he's great. I think he's a great American.
The Taylor family is doubly partial to Philmont's favorite son. Like North, two of the Taylor boys are some of those few good men the Marines advertise for, a tradition that has cast in stone the ambitions of 15-year-old Terry.
What might you like to do?
Join the Marine Corps.
Older son Louis was in for 12 years.
If you'd been Ollie North, you would have done the same thing.
Exactly. I would have done exactly what I had to do to get the job accomplished.
It is not that everyone in this town of 1,600 is squarely behind Oliver North. There is one person in Philmont who spoke out against him. The rest of the people in town say they don't speak to him much anymore. The flip side of the lone dissenting vote is Charlie Havelka.
We're going to get bumper stickers made up for, what do you call have him as president of the United States, or even vice president, too.
Mildred Johnson taught North American history in high school. She still has the 1961 yearbook in which North wrote, quote, "Thank you, Miss Johnson, for all your kind attention," unquote. She says even now, in the hearings, he minds his manners and remembers his history.
I think you learn some of his phrases, checks and balances, and so forth, back in American history class.
Folks here say if North gives a proper accounting of himself and comes out clean, he deserves to be honored here. A homecoming for a hometown hero. Dave Monsies, CNN, Philmont, New York.
South Korean President Chun Doo-hwan has taken another step toward political reform. Chun resigned as president of the ruling Democratic Justice Party today. Party chairman No Tae-woo is expected to succeed Chun in that post. The announcement came a day after one of the biggest anti-government protests in South Korean history. More than 1 million people marched in a mass tribute to a student killed by police in recent protests. Some members of Congress think it's time the U.S. got tough with former Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos. They're concerned over revelations contained in some tape recordings heard yesterday. Ralph Begleiter reports.
Two private American citizens who secretly taped conversations with Ferdinand Marcos played those tapes for a congressional committee. Thinking he was dealing with an arms merchant and a lawyer for a rich Saudi sheik, the former Philippine dictator on May 21st discussed plans for leading an armed insurrection to overthrow Corazon Aquino.
I'm going to London. I don't care who opposes me. London? Yeah. No, London. Probably even this month. And if they oppose it, that's when we start about them.
Microphones hidden in the latches of a special briefcase and a recorder in the pocket of the purported arms dealer picked up Marcos's whispered claim to have the support of the Filipino commander of Clark Air Base outside Manila. The tapes also reveal a boastful Marcos claiming to control billions of dollars in cash and real estate and claiming an enormous hidden stash of gold worth $14 billion. What's revealed on the tapes is enough to make some congressmen think Marcos is losing his mind.
Saying, I think he is so incredibly motivated by greed that it may have obscured his objectivity.
The two men who conned Marcos insist they did so on their own after the Justice Department declined to get involved. They hint at being paid or reimbursed by the U.S. government. All of the